Felicitations, aficionados. Gentlemen, we are at it again. As a person of taste, I only find the most quality stuff to show you through my videos. But today is an exception. Today, I'm showing you how my life went into shit and made me hate myself. Now you might say, Iseb, have you ever thought about getting professional help? Yes, I exactly did that. However, even as an oil monarch, getting help is kinda expensive. After becoming an oil monarch with the help from the start of my YouTube career, I started knowing people. And these people had words of wisdom, which is why this video became possible. In this video, I bring you a game that has taste, creativity, bad taste, and personal hate. How is it possible to combine these very different positive and negative qualities? I have no idea, but these Korean devs managed it, and I'm going to tell you about it. But why talk about something that has parts that I personally don't like? To correct this question, I change it as parts that are factually unlikable, which sources from my own opinion. Because abuse is a part of life. Even if you try to continue your life without it, it will find its way back to you. Just like how I do it to the French that are in my basement. What is the game that makes me feel these emotions? Lobotomy Corporation. What is lobotomy, you ask? Shortly, brain surgery. Instead of needles going into your back like acupuncture, they do it on your frontal lobe to treat mental illnesses. However, funnily enough, throughout the whole game, the moment you see something happen to someone's brain literally occurs only once or twice. So we can say that the name fits. This game also used words my man-child brain didn't know. So you can say that my English lexicon got expanded, just like a Pokemon on Rule 34. Our premise this time is to manage this corporation and produce energy through observation. And how do you do that? Every day except the first, you will be presented with 3 boxes. Inside them are the monsters which this game calls abnormalities. When you hover your mouse over them, you will be given a text explaining or giving a hint about the abnormality in the box. You choose and continue. Then you are in the preparation screen. Here you can see your departments, bonuses they give, your employees and abnormalities that are in the said departments. Every department specializes in different stuff. Say that this is the control department. If you keep an employee work in that specific department for several days, they gain buffs according to the department. This is the control department. So continuous work will give employees that work here more movement speed. You hire people with LOB. Customizing them costs you 1 more LOB, and you can hire them with upgraded stats, which are called virtues in this game. They get progressively pricier to upgrade more levels they have. You can hire as many employees as you want, as long as you can pay for them. You put your employees to their departments and start the day. Every day, you have a threshold you need to meet on the top left. These are called enkephalin boxes, and you need positive types of them. What are enkephalins? They are a type of energy that abnormalities generate whenever they are being interacted with. To get energy, you need to send your employees to work with the abnormalities. There are 4 work types and every abnormality has their own preference. As an addition to that, the work type an employee does and finishes buffs the corresponding virtue. These job types and virtues are instinct work that buffs fortitude, which is their max HP. Insight work buffs prudence, it's mental HP, or you can call it sanity. Attachment work ups temperance, work speed and work success rate. And lastly, repression work, justice, gives attack and movement speed. Wait, attack speed? Iseb, if these employees need an attack speed stat, that means they will be in danger. How much are they getting paid for? To that I say, their pay is actually quite high, if they manage to live until we can decide about the exact amount. You send the employee to work and see the abnormality produce boxes, positive and negative. Every box here is a dice roll. If it hits negative, your employee gets damaged with the abnormality's work damage type. Every time you work with an abnormality, you will see the red bar under your quota get filled one by one. What is that bar? It is the Sephirot meltdown. When it gets filled, a month to the right side of it, random abnormalities get a timer on them. This means that if you don't start a work with them and timer hits 0, their Sephirot counter also hits 0, which means they will breach, and you will have to put them back in. This only works on abnormalities that have a Sephirot number on them. However, You ideally still need to take care of others as well, because if any of them hits 0, you lose a certain amount of boxes you collected, and get a setback. You might be thinking, but won't working with them will progress the Sephirot counter, which will make it an endless loop? No, because Sephirot meltdown triggered abnormalities, when get worked on, don't give any progress for the meltdown. Okay, so, how do you learn about abnormalities? By using their unique boxes that get added to the count just near the abnormality's name. When you click on the name, observation screen pops up. In here, you can use their unique boxes to unlock information about the abnormality. You can unlock its characteristics, managerial guidelines, escape information, and work preference. Characteristics show its name, morale threshold, maximum box per work count, and Sephirot counter. I will get to that. Managerial guidelines tell you what abnormality does when you interact with it or when it escapes. Work preference shows all 4 work types' rough success chances.
Don't touch me there.
Escape information shows what resistances it has to damage types. When you progress through the observation page, you will get permanent bonuses per section unlocked. These are work success chances and work speeds. In addition to that, you unlock E.G.Os and E.G.O gifts. What are E.G.Os? It's short for Extermination of Geometrical Organ, which you can make your employees wear at the start of each workday. E.G.O gift, however, you can think of it like a gacha drop. After working with the abnormality, employee that finished the work has a chance to get the gift on themselves if they hit the percentage chance shown near it. They usually buff the characters, but sometimes also have negative stats, but the buff amount is usually higher. Equipment can be crafted by using unique boxes, so you need to keep working on the same abnormality to get them all. Other than the abnormalities you work with, you also have tool abnormalities. These are special abnormalities that requires usage instead of work to know what they do. And most of the time, they make your life easy and hard at the same time. After you get the needed amount of boxes, press the button that appears on top of the screen to end the day. When you press it, you will see how the day has been, and you will get rewarded with LOB according to the survival rate of your employees. One thing I need to say, however, there are ordeals in this game that I will talk about but not right now, and they are not activated on the first days. Which means, if you get safe enough abnormalities, you can actually infinitely grind your employee stats in one single day. If it is the first playthrough, then the maximum of a single virtue you can have is 80. I suggest that after you get your 3rd abnormality, you should start working on your employee stats. You will thank me for it. Day ends and you get visual novel segments. These happen after every single workday. They advance the story bit by bit. After the first day, you will see heads of departments will talk to you and give you missions. If you complete these missions, you'll learn more about them and they give you permanent buffs. Try to complete these missions whenever you can, because it will be more of a hassle later on. Hey ISEB, I worked through these days very easily, and whatever abnormality escaped, I managed to put it back in with 0 deaths. Is this really the game that made you hate life? My dear friend, if you played through some days, you probably realized these abnormalities have color codes near them. From safe to dangerous, these are Zane, Teth, He, Wa, and Aleph. I will say it shortly. If you are not prepared and something happens with Zane types, you probably won't even feel it. But if you aren't prepared for Aleph level escape, it's most likely will end up with lost kneecaps of your employees, which will make you restart the day. Aleph are quite dangerous, but because of that, they also give out the best E.G.O you can craft. You probably also realized every 2 to 3 meltdowns special events occur. These are called ordeals. What ordeals do? Make your life miserable. That is what they do. All ordeals are color coded. Green sends robots, they roam around the facility and kill whoever they see first. Amber sends worms. They stay in one corridor and every 30 seconds or so dig down and appear in other corridors. Red sends circus puppets in random corridors. They don't directly attack, but they stay in front of containment units and channel. After their channeling ends, abnormalities Sephirot counter in the said unit lowers by 1. Also, when they are killed, they make a small explosion around them. Yes, circus freaks will make you retry this just because. Purple sends weird ass organ looking things. These don't hurt anyone much and they just move around. However, if you don't kill them in time, they will trigger every breach in the department they are in. Now, this again still doesn't sound like too much of a problem, I know. But these were only the down ordeals. Ordeals change as the Sephirot meltdown level rises. These go as dawn, noon, dusk, and midnight. And yeah, midnight quite hurts. Unless you get the green midnight. Easiest shit I've ever seen. There is one upside to the ordeals though. When you complete an ordeal, aka kill its spawns, you get 10% of threshold you need to complete the day. This percentage goes up little by little with the ordeals becoming harder. With how ordeals treat you, you will most likely press retry the day to lower the amount of losses you get. But what is the button which says rewind to the memory depository? You see, this game creates a save every 5 days, which are 1, 6, 11, 16, etc. You can click this button to rewind to the latest one. It may look like just a save file. It is more than that. When you press the rewind button, obviously you get anyone who had an accident back, and every employee's stats rewind back to that day's state. What you keep, however, is observation levels and equipment you extract from the abnormalities. This is also a nice way to get and observe the abnormalities you didn't get to observe. Getting all abnormalities observation levels are required for you to get the true ending. This rewind also works as the same if you quit to the menu and press first day. You will keep everything equipment wise, but you will have to regrind all of your employees. When I first went back to the first day, I also remembered you can mod faces and hairs into this game. Very easily in fact. It helped me cope a bit more while playing. As you continue through days, you will naturally complete all missions of the department. When all missions are completed, you will get a special cutscene with the head of the department, and then you will have the choice to start a core suppression of that department. These are special challenges, which when completed reveal the story about the characters, and you get a permanent upgrade that usually benefits your employees. In addition to that, the department you complete the core suppression in will not receive any Sephirot meltdown on any of its containment units from that point on. Meaning that when Sephirot meltdown happens, you won't have to check the places core suppression has been done. You now understand how the game works, so I will tell you about my and my hired professionals' favorite abnormalities. Express Train to Hell. This tool right here will love it. Too much in fact, I will straight up show what it does. What you need to do about this tool is to send an employee to it time to time, or just mash its usage. Continuously using it doesn't end up with bad results. When you use it, employee who uses it will get healed. More lights it has will make the heal bigger and make it heal more people. Usage on 4 lights heals every single employee. But if you forget to use it and time expires after the 4th light, Thomas comes to say hello in a random angle. Old lady. She is just an old lady. We approve. Shelter from the 27th of March. I ask you, how do you make somewhere the safest place on Earth? This shelter gives you the answer, by making everywhere else deadly. When you put someone into this shelter, they are safe from any damage, and if they have any pursuing abnormality, it loses track of them. What is the catch though? Every 5 seconds after 30th second, Sephirot counters of random abnormalities starts to lower, and it continues on the same targets while also finding new ones. Makes everything go to shit, except itself. A very Chad abnormality indeed. This one is very powerful. Its name is Bald is Awesome. What does it do? Everyone who works with it becomes bald. And after people go bald, success chance with the abnormality work skyrockets to 95%. Also in its lore explanation, it is very racist against people who aren't bald, very based. I realize that this can take too long, so I will give one more which we approve and end this segment here. Have you ever played E.G.O and did XYZ summon? Because with this abnormality, that is what we exactly will do. Even if it isn't what we exactly will do, I don't care because I don't play children's card games. You see, there are 3 birds you can get. Actually 4, but they didn't want Firebird in the group. These are Punishing Bird, Big Bird, and Judgment Bird. When you have these abnormalities one by one, they are just normal abnormality. But when you have all three, they become quite special. If 2 of the 3 birds breach, third bird will also automatically breach. And when that happens, you will see a portal appearing in your facility. If all 3 of the birds manage to get to the portal, then you successfully XYZ summon the Apocalypse Bird. It is an abnormality so base that it literally cannot get hurt. What you need to do instead is to destroy their eggs. 3 eggs spawn correspondingly to the types of birds. Destroying 1 egg will remove one of the 3 effects Apocalypse Bird does, and after you clear all 3, Apocalypse Bird will finally fall. I had to tell you this, because game doesn't tell you about it. I learned it through the wiki, and it is quite an awesome thing. You must be asking, why would you even do this? Why would you want to bring a very strong bird that may destroy everything? Because, my hopeless friend, if you defeat it, you get its E.G.O, both the armor and the weapon. And it is one of the reasons why I managed to keep my sanity clear during the last days of the game. You also get E.G.O gifts for everyone who survives Apocalypse Bird, which buffs 7 to all stats. But after beating it, you will most likely rewind, so they won't stay. You see, one would obviously want to have fun when playing games, but then the developer goes, what's that? Because this is exactly what happened with this game. Why? Because they let backers of the game insert their abnormalities. Yes, there is an option in the menu which lets you disable them, but I didn't when I started, so you will hear me rant. If you see this code, do not, and I repeat, do not click on the abnormality. They thought that it was funny to do this, but every single moment I had with this abnormality brought me sadness and rage. What is this abnormality? Fucking parasite tree. When you first look at it, you might say, "Ah, cute sleeping tree." I need you to shut up and listen. This damned tree. Its gimmick is to put seeds on top of whoever worked with it. Seeds give some buffs to the character. It's okay so far, right? You see, if you don't work with Parasite Tree until 5 other works get completed, which includes tool abnormalities, it will randomly possess an employee to come near it and put a seed on them. When 5 seeds pop up on the tree itself, it changes color and face. When this happens, all the people who had seeds on them panic and a little bit later turn to wood-like creatures which emit poisonous gas around them. This not only limits your options, but it also limits your speed. How? When you complete a work with an abnormality, you need to see the mood counter go down one by one, until they are workable again. The problem is, Parasite Tree's jealousy mechanic starts working during this moment. So if you accidentally complete 5 works during its mood countdown, it will activate to call an employee near it. Can you imagine if you got the Thomas together with it? I got it like that. It was hell. Oh yes, it also has a chance to trigger when a random abnormality escapes. Very funny. I would have no problem with this if it didn't limit your speed to deal with the days. Therefore, I need to say, Mr. Lowell 530, I know you are mocking everyone by picking that name here, and because of your sins against humanity, I wish you a very milkless, stale cereal breakfast. Please don't support anyone from now on. Thank you. This was all I had to say about gameplay. Now we are in for the story. I quite like the story of the game, but because of the gameplay, I need to stop myself from rushing to say, yes, I love this game. You are the new manager for the Lobotomy Corporation. You are helped by Sephirot AI, Angela. She shows you the ropes and you start managing. As days progress, you learn more and more about the corporation, but little by little things start to seem a bit weird. This becomes visible near the end days, and during the scenes play after every Sephirot's core suppression. Let me tell you briefly about Sephirot. They are all AIs that are put as the heads of their own departments. I will give you small infos about each of them. Angela manages the entire facility, calm but can be arrogant. Malkuth, control team, cheerful, enthusiastic, impatient, always wants the best results, even if people die. Yisod, information team, strict, uncaring, logical. Doesn't like to be open to people. He's covering himself as much as possible because of that. Netzak, safety team, pessimistic and depressed, wishes for his own death, and feels sad and helpless about the employee death. Stop calling him nutsack. Hod, training team, optimistic and always tries to be helpful. wants to be appreciated for our efforts. Sephirot, Central Command. Both are called Sephirot. Girl is immature and upfront. I don't like her. Boy is a bit relaxed, however gets depressive progressively. Gebra, Disciplinary Team. Weep bait, rude time to time, and wishes as much pain as possible for abnormalities. Chesed, Welfare Team. Loves coffee, always tired looking and quite mature. Pretends to care for his employees. Hakma, Record Team. Calm and collected. Death of the employees is just a cycle for him. Bina, Extraction Team. Rarely puts up any emotion, quite a sadist. Through Midway, you find out what you are seeing is actually fake, and they are simply just robots. You actually get a glimpse of reality on day 10. Anyway, you can think of core suppression as the meltdown of the AIs you meet. If you manage it, you get your progress towards the Seed of Light. What is Seed of Light? We will get to that. For now, think of it as the way to the true ending. More you complete core suppressions, more you learn about the Sephirot's past. It turns out that all of them were once employees, and ones we see right now are made from their remains that got collected after their death. Days continue like this. You learn the head of corporation is called Mr. A, and you get a mail in following days from Mr. B, who is an insider, trying to tell you what really is going on with the corporation. But the last time he gets in touch with you, just before explaining, connection cuts off and you are left in the dark for the rest of the game. You learn about all of the Sephirot and then reach the 45th day. This is the day I restarted, because I was nowhere enough ready to deal with the remaining 5 days. There is one last department that gets built, Architecture Department. This department doesn't have a managing Sephirot. Some days before the 45th, Angela starts to talk to you as if you were Mr. A. Because it appears so that you are actually A. Those men you see during the day 45 and through, those are also A. They are just different versions of you which was created. I will try to explain these later. During days 46 to 49, you do a core suppression every single day. But the challenge is that every ordeal now summons a color fixer. You can think of them as special agents. When you manage it and get to the 50th day, you see the real A. During day 50, there are no ordeals and meltdowns don't trigger any of the abnormalities. You just need to meet the quota and that's it. You work through the day with the consolation you get from A. As you work, you will realize that more boxes you collect, whole facility starts to rotate. It felt quite trippy when I was playing. After you rotate fully upside down, you realize that you are falling. As you continue, you land on the ground and light starts coming out from beneath the facility, which is currently facing the sky. Light keeps coming on more and more, and when you meet the quota, a beam of light comes out and you are named after all of it by the mysterious voice that talked after every core suppression. Ayin is your name. Credits roll through, and after it, one last scene plays, showing the grayed out city and the beam of light coming from the middle of it. Yes, I know game got quite complicated and you don't know who is who. I mean, me neither. But I will try to make an explanation speedrun. So, there was Ayin and Carmen. They were working together. Carmen was Ayin's mentor and was loved and supported by everyone. Carmen was leading the project, Seed of Light. What she wanted was to bring light back to humanity. The city you are currently living and working in is like the last of humanity. She had the vision to create the medicine that can heal an incurable disease and bring light back to the city. They were working as a team, with Daniel and the Red Mist also joining them, since the facility was currently in outskirts, and had the possibility to find people from all classes. These are Chesed and Gebra. Chesed was an elite member of society, and Gebra was a legendary color fixer. Together one day, they also saved 2 kids from the back streets. These kids' names were Enoch and Lisa. As you may guess, these are the Sephirot. Ayin also was supported by Benjamin, who followed Ayin for his time of need. Oh yeah, and Mr. B is actually Benjamin, who is Hakma. This project was also supported by the other employees, which we will also call by their real names now. Elia, Gabriel, Giovanni, and Michelle. Time would pass and there wouldn't be any major result. They researched Cogito, but needed a human subject to test it on. Carmen was the most optimal candidate, but unexpectedly, Enoch stepped up and said he wanted to be the test subject. Carmen tried to discourage Enoch numerous times, but in the end, Enoch was chosen. But unfortunately, he died during the test. Lisa, with the sadness from Enoch's death, started saying hateful things to Carmen, as in, "You should have been the one to die." Carmen loses faith in herself and tries to kill herself in a bathtub. Fails to do so and she falls unconscious. Ian finds her and manages to put her in a cryogenic chamber. Her state gives way to the decision of using her in the project. Ian removes Carmen's nervous system from her body and places it in a reservoir where she produces cogito and becomes the well. Carmen's death makes everyone depressed than they already are, but everyone believed in Carmen, so they all continue with the project. It starts to go downhill from this point on. Elia injects herself unauthorized to help with the research, dies in the process. Gabriel wanted to moderate this incident, but went insane and died too. He needed volunteers for the research. Giovanni accepted it, but he died in the process too. After seeing all of these deaths, Michelle broke down and snitched what Lobotomy Corporation was doing to an arbiter of the head, Garion. Garion is Bina. There are wings in the city. Wings are the facilities that are working in the city, and the head is the top wing. After learning the deal, Garion infiltrates the facility and coerces Daniel to open the abnormality containers, and starts to wreck the place alongside with abnormalities. Daniel dies during this. Kelly eventually fights her way to the arbiter and manages to bring Garion to her knees, but with the cost of her own life. After the massacre, only Ian, Benjamin, and some other workers remain. Ian found Garion in the aftermath. Because of what she did, he started torturing her, and then started probing her brain, learning how the head works and plans how to work under his gaze. Ian prepares for the conflict that would grant them access to become a wing and no longer be endangered because of the head. Benjamin helps spark the smoke war, an event to take down current Lobotomy Corporation with other groups. With this opening, it allowed them to become the new L Corporation, which provided energy to the wings, just like the one before. With the knowledge they have now, they quickly make preparations for the new facility. At the end of this, Ian tries to create an AI to simulate Carmen, with the help of Benjamin. This android AI would be called Angela, to bring back some smiles Carmen once brought. But the AI was too different from Carmen, and Ian detested it because of it, and avoided interaction, but still gave it the works that were designed for machines. Ian was now dead set on completing the will of Carmen. Benjamin tries to stop him to make him live normally, but he ignored Benjamin's pleas because he was now fully committed. Ian wanted to be able to complete the project for once. Ian set up other facilities to provide energy for the city, because that was the agreement. But then he created a new one and buried it under the earth. Energy from this facility instead would be used for the Seed of Light. But he needed someone who wouldn't fail him. So he created a new AI for Angela. Angela would perceive time 100 times slower, and would be given the script by Benjamin. A routine of steps to fulfill the project and help in correcting it when needed. This included Sephirot, their old friends, and Garion. Ian brought them back by encasing their remains in mechanical tombs, giving them new names and suppressed memories. Angela had to oversee all the loops made, and every fragment was recorded in her mind. Ian was coming to a point of no return, and Benjamin tried to warn him by creating a recorded message, so even in the future that he could stop. But Angela took out the last part of the truth. She seemingly kills Benjamin to fulfill the last actor of the script, gave him a mechanical body to become one of the Sephirot, and now would be named Hokmah. In the end, Ian was alone. Everyone who supported him was gone, and his mind was getting unstable. Carmen's expectations, unfinished research, and the death of colleagues had part in this. He tries to hang himself, but is stopped. And then Ian decides to give up in his own way. He transfers his personality and memories to a data system. With this way, it could be implanted into the new managers that would come after him. He meets his end in this form, but he is still alive in a way, within the last department of the facility. This is what I meant when I said, everyone we see during day 46 and onward was A. They are Ain's own reflections that are blocking him from advancing the final ordeal to finish the Seed of Light, which requires Sephirot to overcome their own pasts and Ain to overcome his own reflections. He meets his counterparts, Abel, Abram, and Adam. All of them are just Ain's thought that the suffering has no way of ending, and whatever he does, nothing will change. When he ignores them with the help of the lessons he learns from the Sephirot, at day 50, Ain himself presents himself, dissolving into the Seed of Light alongside with the manager. They managed to do it in 1000 years, but which was actually 10 years in the outer world. It ends like this. However, if you have unlocked every abnormality's observation levels to max, backer abnormalities and some others are not counted in this, you unlock the true ending, which is just one scene. Think of it as a Marvel movie after credits. You see Angela talking, speaking with all of the Sephirot and talking about their time to shut off and finally rest has come, by the manager's orders. But Angela is not happy for being thought of a machine, and waiting 1000 years in loops over and over, experiencing everything. Angela hated Ain, because the moment she was born, she was loathed by him. Ain had disgust in his face whenever he glanced to the direction of Angela. Angela remembers everything that happened from all of the years, but had to follow orders because she had orders branded into her. A machine must behave as a machine. She felt betrayed for being a must in the plan, but not be able to have a part in neither the prologue nor the ending. She even had jealousy because all of the Sephirot could see the Seed of Light with the manager, but Angela was still left behind. She was made with a part of Carmen and was meant to feel emotion after all. After tasting desire, now it was unstoppable for her to want more of it. Angela decides to interfere the Seed of Light, which only lets the city to get 3 days of light instead of intended 7. Seeds that were incomplete that got planted into the people, with the sudden removal of light, gave them unstable powers. These 3 days and 4 nights were called White Nights and Dark Days, and everything went back to darkness again. She states that the changing humans will be different than abnormalities. She wanted to know more about them. She remembered the objects that had knowledge in them. Books. She decided to call this place a library. She was going to build a library, only for herself. She was going to be with the poor souls that were lost and abandoned, recording in the library. So, this was the story of Lobotomy Corporation, which has a sequel that I plan to play that is called Library of Ruina. You might say my information about the story is wrong, and I don't really care because it looks good enough to me. I also stole all of it from the game's wiki. So, if you have any issues, go ahead and edit it there. So, do I recommend playing this game? No. I hated 70 out of 105 hours I played this game. Fuck Parasite 3, fuck LOL 530, my days went miserable. I didn't even talk about how you need to clear day 49. And I won't, because remembering it only gives me more pain and suffering. Oh right, I forgot to tell you one nice thing. Rabbit Squad. These chads can be ordered to clear a department, or up to 4 departments. One small issue is that they don't discriminate, so you better pull everyone away from the said department. They are strong and durable. Approve. One more last thing I forgot to mention. What the hell are abnormalities? You see, when you inject Cogito to someone, their ego creates these creatures, called abnormalities. That is basically it. Think of it as Persona, but they cannot control it. So, what is the score I give? I give it this out of that. Buy the game, support the devs, don't play it. If you do, come back to this video and check Parasite 3 code, and don't pick it. It isn't required for the true ending since it's a backer abnormality. With that, thank you all for watching. See you later with another life-consuming game.